much. Well, thanks for having me today. And like Peter said, what we do with Chef Watson is create new recipes that have never been seen before. So you might wonder why IBM is doing this. And back in 2011, Watson won the Jeopardy TV show in the US. And at the time, Watson was a question-answering supercomputer. But since then, it's become a collection of services that are available on the cloud so that any entrepreneur can create their own cognitive computing application. You have services for machine learning, natural language processing, vision, speech, language, data insights. And we thought that one aspect that was missing in Watson was creativity. Could Watson help its users be more creative? So to answer this question, we decided to focus on food. We created a food knowledge database and a prototype that can take a few inputs from users, like maybe some key ingredients or dish type, and then generate recipes. And the challenge for us was to create combinations of ingredients that were going to be creative. By creative, we meant combinations that are at the same time novel, so surprising, and tasty. So to do that, we partnered with the Institute of Culinary Education in New York City so that their chefs could explain their thought process, but also try our prototype and test the recipes in the kitchen. And that actually gave birth to a cookbook that we released last year. Then in March 2014, Chef Watson did its first public appearance. We went to the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. And we had a food truck there. So every day, people could vote for a dish on paper. At the end of the day, we would pick the dish with the most votes, and we would create a recipe with Chef Watson, prep it, serve it at the food truck the next day. And at the same time, we were giving demos of the first alpha version of Chef Watson, a consumer-facing version. And that meant a new challenge for us. Instead of just giving combinations of ingredients, we also had to provide complete recipes. So ingredient amounts and recipe steps. And when you think about it, that's something that computers have never done before. How can they figure out how to make something that's never been tried? So to help us there, luckily, we met with Bon Appétit magazine, which is one of the leading food magazines in the United States, shortly after South by, and they wanted to partner with us. They gave us access to their 10,000 professionally written recipes. And what that gave us is not only an understanding of ingredient pairings and dish composition, but also instruction templates that we could use for Watson's own creations. So we started a beta version, and after some more user research and improvement of our algorithms, we went live in July 2015. So now if you go to ibmchefwatson.com, you can really access this app. I'm not going to give a demo, but I'll explain how it works quickly. So typically, you start by entering your key ingredient. It could be something you have in your fridge or something you bought at the farmer's market. And our most popular ingredient is chicken. So I type chicken in here, and immediately what I get is combinations of 3 ingredients that pair well with chicken. And if I don't like the combination, I can just flip through to see some more. And you see that what you get is pretty original. I mean, chicken, andouille sausage, coffee, and mango. I gotta say that's something I've never tried before. And so when we worked with the Institute of Culinary Education, the chefs were happy to just take those combinations and then go to the kitchen and create their own recipe. But maybe when you look at that, you have no clue what to do with those 4 ingredients. So to help you, we'll have some recipe ideas at the bottom of the screen. So for example, here we're suggesting a chicken burger, and we give you a full list of ingredients. And maybe now you know how to make a chicken burger, so you're going to go to your kitchen and make it. Or maybe you need some more help again. So you could just click on this recipe, and you would see ingredient amounts and instructions. Then, fast forward the beginning of the year, 2016, we created a cocktail app, now available in the App Store on Android and iOS. It's called Watson Twist. And we're focusing on a slightly different consumers here. The idea is that you can start by entering your mood. Maybe you're in the mood for something bubbly, or you wish you were at the beach. Then you tell us where you are. Maybe you're in a hotel room and you have a mini bar you want to play with. Or maybe you're outside in a big bar. Again, you enter key ingredients, and you get back combinations of ingredients, combinations of 3 ingredients that you can flip through plus 2 optional ingredients to add to your cocktail. Now, if you're at home, you're going to have to make the drink yourself. But if you're in a bar, you could just show that to your bartender and ask them to fix the drink for you. I mean, you should try that out if you go to a bar tonight. It's a lot of fun, actually. So how does that work? Well, without getting into the machine learning details, at a very high level, we have those peer-produced recipes, an inspiration set. Right now, it's Bon Appétit magazine, 10,000 recipes, but we could ingest other recipes from other sources. Then we have our cognitive cooking system that's going to produce the customized recipes. And that system contains 4 modules. There's the dish learner that understands what makes a burger, for example. Then there's the combinatorial designer that's going to take that spec from the dish learner plus your user inputs and figure out what ingredients pair well with those constraints. And it's going to create all the possible combinations of ingredients with those constraints. Then it's going to pass the combinations to the cognitive assessor. And that assessor is going to evaluate the combinations for novelty and taste. So we'll have 2 algorithms there. For novelty, we use Bayesian surprise. That gives us a score that tells us how different the recipe is from existing recipes. And for taste, we use the food pairing method. The idea is that the more flavor compounds the ingredients share, the more likely they are to be used together and therefore work well together, especially in Western cuisine. So once you've selected the combination of ingredients you want, then we pass it to the dynamic planner. And the dynamic planner is going to look for the most similar existing recipe, and then it's going to adapt it to modify the proportions and the instructions. Oops. So here I'm showing you the food knowledge database, and you see that we parse the recipes. We know pretty much everything there is to know about the recipes, the ingredients, the recipe steps, the temperatures, what the actions are in the steps, and so on and so forth. We classify the recipes into dish types, and then we use other data sources. We use Wikipedia to understand cuisines. We know what ingredients are used in what cuisines, thanks to Wikipedia. We built our own ingredient ontology. We have thousands of ingredients into our hierarchy. And then we have the USDA nutrient database that gives us nutrition facts, not for all ingredients, unfortunately, but for many. And we have a group of data sources here that give us chemistry information. For example, we know what flavor compounds are contained in what ingredients. That's what we use for the food pairing theory. So now let's get back to our users. So when it comes to cooking, we think of 3 broad categories of users. We'll have the makers, which is the smallest category probably, people who want to create and cook recipes from scratch. Then we'll have the remixers who are going to modify existing recipes to their taste. And then finally, the largest category, the consumers, people who love to eat but prefer to have somebody else do the cooking. And those categories are not mutually exclusive. I think the same person can be a maker, a remixer, or a consumer on different occasions. And I think that Chef Watson can help all those 3 categories. So if we start with the makers here, for professional chefs, Chef Watson can be an amazing tool for them. It can really help them get out of their comfort zone, help them understand how flavors work, and give them new and exciting combinations of ingredients so they can create their own dishes. And here I'm showing you a few examples. In the top left corner, we have tacos that we made recently, this year in fact, at South by Southwest at the Vince Young Steakhouse. So in this one there's steak, pickled onions, watercress cucumber salad, smoked paprika, chimichurri, and fried olives. And so it's really delicious. Then we'll have a Filipino tomato salad. So it contains tomatoes, of course, but then there's a dressing of shrimp paste and coconut milk. And it's garnished with grilled flank steak, grilled celery, bamboo shoots, and spinach. It's quite an interesting combination. And here at the bottom, I'm showing some of the drinks that we served at South by Southwest. When you entered the IBM space, you could fill out a survey with your mood, and then we just gave you a cocktail made with Chef Watson or Watson twist based on your mood. But also for some home cooks, there's that desire to create recipes that look like they come from a 4-star restaurant. And I think Chef Watson can help them create those recipes that have that wow factor, and it can also help them share those recipes either physically or virtually. And in fact, these are pictures of recipes that our users submitted on our Facebook page. You see here we have a a tomato gazpacho with a ginger, avocado, and dill. Or here, a tomato tart with a sour cream, smoked paprika, and eggs. And they're just as gorgeous as the recipes we got from professional chefs. So now let's look at the remixers. So these are people who already have access to collections of high quality, reliable recipes, often with gorgeous photographs and insightful red notes. It could be recipes that people have found on Whisk, for example. And they want to adapt them to their dietary constraints, their personal tastes, and also probably ingredient availability. So we're working on APIs that would allow those people to take those recipes, send them to Chef Watson, and get back recommendations to substitute some of the ingredients. And this way they can adapt the recipe while keeping the spirit of the original recipe. Another big scenario, of course, for remixers is meal planning. So, and you can do meal planning with Chef Watson today. It's just that it's not what it excels at because it focuses on very creative recipes that can be a little bit time consuming. And the Bon Appétit recipes are sometimes a little bit involved. But the algorithms are flexible enough that we could imagine a totally different user experience where we focus on recipes for family weeknight dinners, for example. And here I'm showing you some very crude mugs that we created for a meal planning prototype. We called it the Tinder of meal planning. The idea is that you start by entering your needs, how many meals you want, how many people you got in your family, your budget, the time you're ready to spend in the kitchen, your dietary constraints. And then we just present you with pictures of food, and you can swipe left or right depending on whether you like the food or not. You could imagine having the whole family playing Tinder with their dinner, and then the system is going to aggregate all those constraints and maybe also take into account your meal history to recommend dinner suggestions. Now let's take a look at the consumers. So these are the people who love the romance of food. They love the adrenaline of the cooking shows where the chefs prepare those amazing meals within 1 hour. But in reality, the kitchen is pretty different. You know, cooking is pretty repetitive. They may not have the patience or the time. And I think that there's still hope to have those people be food rock stars by letting them create their own combinations of ingredients and then have them send those creations to their favorite bartender, restaurant, meal preparation service, or even food manufacturer. And that's more or less what we try to do with Watson Twist, the cocktail app I mentioned. And also more recently, we partnered with Bare Naked. So Bare Naked is it's a granola maker. It's a Kellogg's company. And if you go to their website today, you have the option to create your own granola mix. So it's powered by Chef Watson. You create your mix, and then you can have it shipped to your door. And that's really the kind of interactions that we want to see more in the future. And to that effect, we created Watson Ads. We launched that a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to start by focusing on the food sector. So what we imagine is that instead of having that static ad where you just click on the ad and it takes you to a website you don't necessarily care about, you can interact with the ad and ask questions inside the ad. So for the case of Bare Naked, for example, you could imagine inside the app creating your granola mix and only going to the Bare Naked website if you like what you see, if you like the mix that you created. Or if we had a cognitive ad for a restaurant, you could create a new dish inside the ad and then maybe go to the local branch of that restaurant if you like the dish that you created to try it out without having to cook it. So just to conclude here, I'm showing you all the services that are available on the IBM Cloud Bluemix, plus the kind of APIs we're working on with Chef Watson. And if you put all those things together, you can really create a wide array of food-focused solutions. You could imagine recognizing pictures of food, understanding personal preferences, ingesting existing collections of recipes, and then maybe start a dialogue with your users, whether it's by text or voice, in multiple languages, and then have suggest existing recipes or new recipes that are based on your dietary constraints or on your personal tastes. Thank you.